Other interesting business news, Rivian posts their very first profit. It finally happens. Oh my gosh, it's a thing. Took them years. Granted, their stock isn't being rewarded, but they finally did make a profit, or a quarterly profit specifically. Now, not financial advice, but let's look at their stock before we dive into the statistics on, the actual earnings, which the stock is comically bad to say the least, on par perhaps with Black Rifle Coffee Company in terms of performance. Now, since its IPO, they've lost, or the past 5 years, they've lost 90.02% of their stock value. Ouch. So thank God, hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to investing, not financial advice. 5 years ago, they were $129.95 per share. Now they're $12.97. That's less than a meal at McDonald's. You can get a piece of Rivian, which I would not recommend, though. I have to clarify, not legal advice. Good old American lawsuits, always got to delineate that. And oh my gosh, their market cap is only $13 billion, which, again, for a big automotive company, or what is, actually, yeah, that's probably one of the smallest in the automotive community. Far from the trillions of Tesla, but yeah, the average value, they're not doing good. 52-week low, the year range the lowest was $8.26 per share. Ouch. But they finally did make a profit. Oh, sorry, wrong article. There we go. Let's get one of those funny looking Rivians on screen, which, I'll give them credit. They at least look quirky and unique. Not that I'd buy it because they only have 2 pedals, also known as an automatic transmission. Obviously, not my cup of tea. Though, I'm an American. I don't drink tea. I drink coffee, which ironically isn't made here. But nevertheless, it's I was about to say it's brewed here. It's roasted here, so there's something there. But nevertheless, they say, quote, Rivian beats Wall Street fourth quarter expectations, but expectations for the deliveries for 2025 are to decrease. Now, they say that for 2025, Rivian also expects to narrow its adjusted losses to a range of $1.7 billion to $1.9 billion, down from a loss of $2.69 billion in 2024. Ouch. Rivian's quarterly gross profit and revenue, as expected, were assisted by $299 million in the sale of regulatory credits, also known as bullshit. That's how, they're selling credits to other automotive companies, which Tesla, don't get me wrong, Tesla did that as well. I think it's ridiculous. Our government has all these ridiculous manipulations of the market. It's not really free as it should be. But yeah, they made $299 million just in the sale of regulatory credits, as well as $214 million in software and services. Yeah, they're also bolstered by VW doing a big investment and pumping some money into that company. Now, they say, quote, the electric automotive manufacturer reported gross profit, which included the production and sale, but did not factor in other expenses, such as $170 million during the first final quarter last year. Rivian said it plans to achieve, quote, another modest gross profit in 2025. It has not said what it expects to be profitable in a bottom line basis, however. 2025, Rivian also expects to narrow its adjusted losses to a range of $1.7 billion to $1.9 billion. Now, the company forecasts deliveries of 46,000 units to 51,000 units for 2025, compared to 51,579 vehicles delivered last year. Now, they said the stock's been up and down, left and right. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe told CNBC there is, quote, a lot of uncertainty, quote, surrounding the automotive industry, specifically the potential removal of the bribery, the federal incentives for EVs, as well as possible tariffs, which, it's a big incentive to buy a disposable car, also known as an EV, $7,500 tax credit. That's a pretty big one. Now, it'd be hilarious. He would never do it, but it'd be kind of hilarious if Trump did the opposite. The new automotive tax credit is $7,500 off if you buy any V8 or V10 or V12 with a stick shift. Make America shift again, which he would never do, but it would be kind of awesome if he did. Now, they continue saying, quote, we believe external factors could impact our 2025 expectations, including changes to the government policies and regulations and a challenging demand environment. While uncertainties persist, we remain focused on executing against our key value drivers and are confident in electrifying the world in long term. That's from their shareholder letter. They also note that for 2025 guidance, Rivian's chief financial officer, Claire McDaniel, said the company took into account, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars in expected hits to its EBITDA as a result of less sales due to expected removal of tax credits. Rivian said it expects capital expenditures this year between $1.6 and $1.7 billion, increased from $1.41 billion last year, as it prepares to launch its new R2 mid-size vehicles for 2026. The company says it expects to idle its sole auto plant in Normal, Illinois, which perhaps is the most boring name of a city ever, but it's a place. during the second half of the year to retool for the new designs. This is again going to CFO quote. We believe R2 will be truly transformative with our growth and profitability. Which, of all the crap Disney does in terms of collaboration and branding, the fact that it's not R2D2 seems like a lost marketing opportunity. But nevertheless, they say, here's how the company performed in the fourth quarter compared to the average estimates compiled by LSEG. Loss per share were 46 cents compared to a loss of 65 cents expected. The revenue came in at $1.73 billion, which is a lot more than I thought, compared to the $1.4 billion that was expected. They say at the beginning of this quarterly report, Rivian breaks its automotive and software and services units for additional transparency to investors. The automaker has plans to continue to grow its software business, including a new joint venture with German automaker Volkswagen. They say that Rivian's quarterly gross profit and revenue were helped by $299 million for the regulatory credits, and then the software is at $214 million. Net loss for the fourth quarter was $743 million, or 70 cents per share. Now, for the full year, Rivian lost, $4.75 billion, which is a pretty penny to say the least. Which, yeah, that's pretty rough. They do say that 2024 revenue came in at $4.97 billion, which was a 12% increase from the $4.3 billion from 2023. They also note that fourth quarter revenue was up more than 31% from the prior year-over-year period. So, again, they're technically moving in the right direction, but there's so much uncertainty. And also, without massive tariffs, I suspect BYD, the EV, as well as hybrid manufacturer out of China, or Trump would say, China, that's going to take over pretty much every market in terms of automotive sales. So that's really the big elephant, or perhaps the big panda in the room, so to say, when it comes from competitors outside the country. Also, again, I'm not a big fan of GM. They make the CT4V Blackwing is pretty legit. Same with the CT5V Blackwing. Both come with a stick shift option. But, I mean, GM, to their credit, they are, mass-produced the crap out of those EV Chevy Blazers, which, reliability, but they are getting units out the door. Somewhat, I was about to say reliably. They move sometimes. But there is more and more competition from the conventional automotive companies. And without that tax incentive, I think that's going to be a big hit when it comes to EV sales in 2025. And also, a thing that is hurting many automotive companies, not just Rivian, interest rates. I mean, like a high schooler, I still look at the cars.com and the autotrader.com and I'll, window shop and wish upon things. And it is just so viscerally disgusting to see the average interest rates on those calculators at like 10%. That is a deal killer for a lot of folks and many people who can do, pretty much anyone that can do math. But yeah, that's a big deal killer for a lot of folks. 10% interest on a car, a depreciating asset. And don't get me wrong, some cars hold their value better than others, like, iconic Porsche 911s. There are some cars that will hold their value better than others, but overall, most automobiles go down in value the second you roll it off the lot, and with every mile you subsequently drive from there. Or if you buy a Range Rover, every additional day it waits in the shop being repaired, you don't get a lot of miles put on those. But in all seriousness, is 10+% interest rate for a vehicle. You have economic uncertainty, a lot of layoffs in the software industry in terms of, industry layoffs. And when I guess who would buy these things, on average, a lot of my tech people buy them. A lot of my tech friends have bought them. I know a friend that bought a Rivian and he loves it. He's got the funny, quirky looking truck thingamajig. He likes it. But when you go after the mass adoption of EVs, most people don't trust EVs to have it as a primary vehicle, which makes sense. It's mostly a toy. And even more disposable than any other car out there, just because, again, the Achilles heel of EV is the battery for now. They might very well make a new one tomorrow that's magical and perfect and will get rid of all the worries, but no, not at the moment. So there's a lot of uncertainty with Rivian. And again, it's something you don't need. So I'm just even more pessimistic. The category of automobile that right now has the highest adoption rate in the United States is the hybrid technologies. Again, not a fan, but Toyota read the room right, where everyone else is going all in on EV research and development dollars. Toyota put over $7 billion into hybrid technology research and development, which is paying off in dividends for the fifth year in a row. The largest automotive company on the planet is Toyota. So they read the room right, and they're being rewarded. So we'll see what comes in the future for Rivian, but let's just say I'm pretty pessimistic, but let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in again. Try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.